Hi, and welcome to this month's edition of Las Vegas Advisor Monthly Update. It is the month of June. Today is June 5th. It's a Thursday that we're filming it. And the main talk around the town, Anthony, is the slowdown. What's been happening? You were just on KNPR, and you were talking about it today.
It was the lead of this issue. The June issue of the LVA was called Slowdown.
That's right.
And it wasn't about, slow down. It's like what's going on in the city.
Like an economic slowdown.
Yeah, everybody's getting nervous all of a sudden. You've got a few months of bad reporting numbers. But worse than that, you've got reactions from the casinos, which we'll talk about in a minute. But, it all boils down to people saying, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Like, what is this town doing? There was an article in today's Review Journal, Las Vegas Review Journal. I don't know if you saw it. The Flamingo charging $60 for early check-in.
Wow.
Give me a break. At the Flamingo, $60 so you can get in before 3:30 when the room's sitting there cleaned and dead with nobody in it.
That sounds a little egregious.
Oh, it's brutal. It's terrible. And these sorts of things that we keep seeing with the same things that everybody hates, the resort fees, the parking fees, all of that. So all of a sudden they're looking at numbers and going, what's happening? And I was on KNPR with Josh Swissman,
right,
who's one of the top analysts, and he comes from the casino world, MGM Resorts, Station Casinos, marketing manager, and he was, agreeing essentially. We were both agreeing with one another that the casinos have probably taken it too far with these fees,
right? And
people are starting to say, I wasn't sure I was going to go, and I'm not, and they've kind of had enough. But what's interesting about it, we've said this forever, that when things get bad, then things get good,
right?
For the customer. You
got to go back the other way.
Yeah, and so what does that mean? That means room rates start to come down.
Right.
There's a bunch of good room packages out there. The current issue of the LVA lists a lot of them. Check it out. The biggest one to me, the most obvious, Resorts World, free parking again.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's exciting. Yeah, Resorts World's back.
Only through August 28th. But there's no more parking fees. It was $18 a day for most people.
Well, I remember when Stations did the $5.99 burger, you said, "Oh, this might be the beginning of the slowdown."
That's what we said. We wrote an LVA. We called it a burger in Vegas.
Yeah.
And we said this is more than just a $5.99 burger. This is, the evil Station Casino doesn't want to give anything away, doing a really good deal, which is number 5 in our top 10 list. It's so good. And it looked like a leading indicator, of what was going on. So we've got, Resorts World doing what they're doing. This was on the negative side. Golden Nugget is holding a poker tournament.
Okay.
And they had guaranteed prizes. And after the first week, they cut a lot, not all, but a lot of those prizes, guarantees, they cut in half. Why? Because of low attendance.
Not enough people signing up to play.
Right. And it's starting to go everywhere. It's starting to have that effect. Another good one, Ellis Island. And I don't think they're doing this because of, I know why they're doing this. They call it a Pardon Our Dust promotion.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you've been in there lately, but it's all torn up.
Yeah, it's under construction from the outside, yeah.
The remodel, but what a great deal they've got there. Monday through Thursday, 4 to 7 p.m. Everything on the menu at all the restaurants is 50% off.
Oh, I got to get in there. That's great.
Now, that doesn't mean the steak special because that's not on the menu.
Because that's always a discount.
Yeah. But, like we said, when things start to go bad for the casinos, they go good for the customers.
That's great.
We're finally, I think, starting to see some of that materializing.
Okay. And then also, as you've always said, Anthony, in LVA, July is historically one of the least expensive months to come to Vegas anyway.
Yeah, we'll do our big room rates, survey next month.
Okay.
Report on that. And I got a feeling that the July month, in tandem with what we're talking about, is going to produce some really good low rates. One more thing. And again, this is what Swissman was saying too. He says, these are businesses that have to make a profit.
Right.
They just don't want to go too far. And you've got to make decisions. And we've, at the publishing company, we have the same thing. When we stopped doing, prices kept going up for paper, prices kept going up for postage.
Stamps, yeah.
So we had 2 choices with Las Vegas Advisor. Either we raise the price, like all the casinos are doing, or we stop sending out the mailed copy of the LVA.
Right, the hard copy.
Right. So, we made a decision to keep prices down. And so I thought this was a good time to bring it up, that everybody complains. They complain.
Yeah.
Oh, we no longer have the hard copy of the Las Vegas Advisor.
That's right. It's all digital now.
Right. Except for one thing.
What's that?
You can have a hard copy.
How so?
There was this amazing technological advance.
Yeah.
And it was called The 3-hole punch.
A 3-hole punch, Anthony.
Yes.
Look at that.
What you do is you take the pages, you print them out. Now,
Yeah.
you can print them out.
Like on a printer.
Yeah, so you print out the entire Las Vegas Advisor.
Okay.
You put it in the 3-hole punch.
3-hole punch.
Boom.
Okay.
And then you put it in a binder.
You put it in a binder.
Look at that.
That's incredible.
Look at
And you
that.
can read it.
And and you can do it on both sides.
Oh,
and
wow.
there is your printed out newsletter.
That's incredible.
Now,
No postage necessary.
and I'm going to tell you something even more incredible.
What
There's
else?
Another technological advance for those who don't want to go to the expense of the 3-hole punch.
Yeah, the 3-hole punch is a little bit big to get the 3-hole punch.
This amazing thing is called the stapler.
Wow.
It is an incredible.
Now, I've heard of those.
Yes. Now, what you do is you print out the
Okay.
pages and you implement the stapler.
Right. Oh, wow. So it's almost like a 2-hole punch.
Yes. Something like that. Okay. And it's not as fancy, but there's your hard copy.
No, it's not as fancy, but that works.
It does work. So, sorry, I couldn't resist.
Okay.
And that is your answer out there. That's how you get your hard copy of LVA.
Now, I also have a thing to add to that because I am an ADD dyslexic. If you don't know, now you know. That's right. It takes me a little bit extra to read. So what I like to do is I like to highlight, and then I like to have the computer read to me. Okay. And so for that, you can actually get a downloadable. You can download it.
It's right there it's right there. That's one of the toggles. Mm-hmm. You can hit download, print download.
Yep.
And you can print it out, and then you can do the same thing. You can use the stapler or the
3-hole punch.
And you could use that other amazing thing called the highlighter.
Yeah, the digital highlighter.
And do all the things.
Voice to text, and it reads it to you.
And there's one more thing. We don't want to keep going on and on about this, but the other complaint was they hate to have to click through for the reviews.
Yeah, people don't like to click the button.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The reviews, take a look at them. Mm-hmm. They're so much better than they were because we can say more. Mm-hmm. We can show more. We have pictures. Sometimes we have video. And you want to really know what an experience was about, I'm telling you, it's better now than it was, and we didn't raise the price.
Okay.
And that's the key. That's what you want to do. The casinos need to do a little more of that.
And we're going to get some links in the description box. So click on the link, check it out, get the member rewards book, and then get access to the newsletter. And in buffet news, another one bites the dust. Anthony, what's going on at the Westgate?
No more buffet going on at the Westgate.
No more buffet. Wow.
We had a list. There were 12 buffets. Now there's 11. There were 13 buffets. Luxor 2 months ago, Westgate last month. Mm-hmm. We're down to 11. The most economical was Westgate.
Right.
So that's bad. That was the cheapest buffet. The high-end ones remain. The cheap ones are going by the wayside. And it doesn't look, again, like we said, doesn't look like they're going to come back in Vegas.
Yeah.
Though we are seeing things in, Atlantic City. Just one of the casinos out there just brought a buffet back.
Oh, interesting.
I think it was a Golden Nugget. And then Mississippi, especially on the coast, they've got 4 or 5 buffets out of like 12 properties. Mm-hmm. So it's not over yet. We also write about what we call spot buffets, which are things that show up around town, like a lot of the Indian restaurants have buffets. So if you're an LVA member, again, check out our buffet listing, and you'll see what's going on.
All right, so a little bit of a downer show here. We've covered the slowdown. We've covered the buffet closing at the Westgate. Let's talk about some other things that are closing in town. What else is closing down, Anthony?
Well, you know what? It's not going to be a downer for long because we're about to talk to some good things. And we should have given a shout out to Jonathan Jossel, who was on our show.
That's right.
We watched Jonathan make another brilliant move of putting his microphone up here.
That's right. We have him up here now.
Yep. And now we're doing everything we can to make the sound better. This is thank you to Jonathan. I think this is going to work.
Yep.
All right. So other closing. We talked about last month, Hogs and Heifers. They even moved that up. They were going to close in late July. Hogs and Heifers is the Wild Bar downtown across from the Downtown Grand, across 3rd Street. They moved it up earlier in July. And I hate to see that one go. They say they're looking for a new outlet downtown. That's
a real bummer. I went to the original Hogs and Heifers in the Meatpacking District in New York, and I know Hogs and Heifers in Vegas is one of your favorite bars across the street from the downtown.
Oh, it was always fun to go in. I mean, isn't that what they made Coyote Ugly off of?
That's right.
Yeah, I think they were the original one in New York. Other closures, the Burlesque Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
After so many years, all of a sudden, all of this stuff is probably linked to what we were talking about, the slowdown in general. Fewer people coming to town, less money being spent. Here's a shocker. Batista's hole in the wall.
Yeah, what's going on?
That's the Italian restaurant next door to the Stage Door, which is in our top 10 for dollar beers. Great place, I thought. It's a lower end Italian. A lot of people don't like it. You like it, right?
I love it, and I recommend it to a lot of people. The portions are really big. They give you free wine with your dinner.
Free wine, unlimited.
Yeah.
All you want. And this is the Italian food snobs don't like it. They're like, no, that's not good Italian. It's like all my Italian friends go, my mom's better. I'm like, yeah, does she give me free wine?
Well, yeah.
She probably would. But
I like the taste of free, baby. It might not be the best wine you've ever had, but it's not bad. It's good wine.
I think I like Batista's. Now, they say it's for a remodel.
Okay.
But it closed abruptly. There was no warning, no nothing, which is a bad sign.
Right.
And, Tanya here argues with me that because I guess she likes it too, that they are renovating and she can see pictures and they're doing stuff, but we don't know until it reopens.
That's right. You just don't know until it reopens. How long is the renovation going to go? Any idea?
No idea. That's why I say there's no word about this, so we don't know.
Yeah.
And then maybe the biggest shocker, we go back to Jonathan Jostle, who was our last guest. And Brian, we talked about the Brian Christopher room and them using Christopher as, their lead influencer. Word is, I don't have all of the information on this, but I guess it was in Vital Vegas. Where Scott Robin reports that Brian Christopher is out at the Plaza.
Brian Christopher's out, so that must mean that they're going to get somebody else in.
I don't know, but they've got a Brian Christopher room. They've worked with him for a long time. Look, right now it's only a rumor because I haven't seen one thing on it. But it sounds like I've heard from enough places that Brian Christopher no more at the Plaza.
All right. Well, the Plaza's still a fantastic place to go. They got some of the best tables in town. They got the LVA coupons. They got the Oscar Steakhouse.
There's a case for it being better now.
Right. And without Brian Christopher, you might like it even more.
That's the point.
All right. Well, we know it is early June, and the World Series of Poker is in town at the Horseshoe right there on the corner of Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. What's going on with the World Series of Poker this year, Anthony?
Well, it just started, so that's going to be another interesting thing. I brought up earlier about the Golden Nugget cutting their guarantees.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can keep up with their record breaking and all.
That's right.
The two big stories here were new rules.
Okay.
And those rules are mostly about no more coaching with software, analytics software from the sidelines. Last year, Jonathan Tamayo was the winner, and he was always on the rail, as they call it, with coaches who were using computers to give him real-time analysis.
Right.
So this is no longer going to be allowed. The other was Phil Hellmuth, who's the all-time winning leading bracelet winner, I think was 17, saying he wasn't going to play the main event because it was he's getting too old and it takes too long.
Wow.
It's too hard. It's arduous. He says it's more like a survival contest than it is a skills contest.
It is. It's got to be grueling to play in
it
that
is grueling,
competition.
but that's part of it.
Yeah.
And Daniel Negreanu is on the other side, never missing an opportunity to argue with Phil Hellmuth. Daniel Negreanu is going, quit being a baby.
Yeah.
And Phil decided he's going to play it after all.
Really? Okay. Yeah. How could he not? I mean, it's Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah, you got to have him. He was the winner, I believe, in 87 or 89 of the main event. And Phil's always fun. It's always fun to watch Phil.
Absolutely. And Daniel Negreanu, too. I always liked watching Daniel Negreanu.
Yeah, well, everyone loves Negreanu. Kid poker is funny. They call him Kid Poker, man. He's now getting to grandpa poker pretty soon.
He's not a kid anymore.
But he took a second already.
Uh-huh.
He's trying for his 8th bracelet.
Wow.
Came up a little short, right?
Okay.
Just a little short. But the other news is a guy named Benny Glazer out of England won his 6th bracelet.
Wow.
So Negreanu has 7, Glazer has 6. Put that in perspective with the 17 for, I hope it's 17, it might be 18, I don't know. But for Hellmuth.
Well, I always like hearing stuff like this because it's encouraging to me as a poker player, knowing that the skill really makes such a difference. And, you might be able to beat Daniel Negreanu one hand, heads up or whatever, but over the course of time, the guy who's really good, who's really well studied, who really knows poker is going to win.
Well, he's going to have a bigger advantage. He's going to have a better chance to win.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that he's going to win, but he's going to win more often than the others do, essentially over time into infinity. You played yesterday, didn't you? You said you were going to play a 125 buy-in at the Orleans.
I went there, and unfortunately, I made a mistake. It was a $200 buy-in, and I decided to not play. I didn't want to buy in for the $200. So I ended up going out with my buddy, and we spent $200 on slot machines.
Perfect. Yeah, you don't want to spend it in the poker thing you went for. Let's just go blow it over there instead.
We were having fun. We were having a good time.
All right, that's fine. One more thing about the World Series. We did analysis like we have for the past couple of years on the rake.
Okay.
How much they're taking out. It's pretty amazing. I mean, every year this rate goes up. No difference this year. Not in every event. Most of them, they went up 0.5% to 1%. I'll get to the numbers in a minute. The biggest gain was 0.4% to 1.5% in the, so 1.1% total in the $250,000 buy-in event, the biggest event.
Wow.
So we worked it out. If they had the same number of entrances last year, that would be an extra almost $300,000 in the pocket of the operators by raking that amount.
Right.
Where they're going to make more are on the other ones. I mean, it's ridiculous. The $800 events have a 12.5% takeout.
That's 12.5.
The $600 events have a 16% takeout.
Okay.
The 500s have a 17%. The 300, which is the lowest buy-in, the one everybody wants to play.
Right.
Colossus, I believe. I think it's Colossus. 18% takeout.
Wow.
And, you've got to, I say this over and over again, equity in a tournament is so important.
Yeah.
That means they're paying back, 82% only. Are you 18% better than the field? If you're not, then you're playing for entertainment. And maybe that's why you're playing. But over time, you cannot, almost nobody is 18% better than average. And you're not going to make money that way.
So you're saying you can't fade that over time?
You can't fade that kind of a takeout. You just can't. Although I'm sure it's fun to play.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the World Series of Poker. It's exciting. It's going down till the end of that. It's going down till July.
Yeah,
and,
the main event will be, I believe, July 2nd through the 16th, I believe.
Okay. And, get down here. And you can also watch for free, right? You can get in there and watch.
Yeah, it's free to watch. Everybody wants to see this one time.
All right. So, Anthony, you were just talking about equity. And when it comes to the CIRCA contests, that's actually some good equity, right? That's positive EV because typically there's an equity overlay in the CIRCA contests.
Often. The important thing about the CIRCA contest is it's what we call 100% equity.
Right.
Meaning that they'll give back 100% of everything they take in.
Mm-hmm.
The polar opposite, World Series of Poker is raking it for 18%.
They're making profits.
Yeah. They're leaving everything in, which is why it's grown and grown and grown.
Yeah, and that's why we love Derek Stevens.
Right, and they put these guarantees on,
Mm-hmm.
and if they don't, now if they go above the guarantee, that means it's going to be even equity because everything that's above the guarantee will also be put back in.
Correct.
But when they go below the guarantee, meaning they need 15,000 people, we'll talk about it in a minute. They need 15,000 people to enter to reach the guarantee, but they only get 14,000, but they're still giving back the 15. Now you're talking about a positive equity and overlay.
That's right.
Which is possible. So here's the big news. Their Survivor last year was such a big deal because they guaranteed 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
They got over 14,000 people.
Okay.
So they raised the guarantee this year to 15 million.
Okay. They think they're going to get the same people back.
Yeah, a $15 million guarantee. Circa million, I think it's Circa $1.7 million. Same as last year, a $6 million guarantee because that one went a little under. And now they've also started something called Grandissimo.
Okay, Grandissimo.
Grandissimo. That's another Survivor contest where you pick one a week and $100,000 entry fee.
Wow, that's a lot. That's like you got to get together with a group to do that.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of that. There's going to be a $1.5 million guarantee, so that means they need 15 players to put up $100,000 to reach that guarantee of $1.5 million.
Okay.
If there's fewer than 15, that will also be an overlay.
And that's a winner take all.
That's winner take all.
Okay.
Right, and then so that's a combined $22.5 million guaranteed in football contests. Derek Stevens, if I were wearing a hat, I would tip it. Right now, that's quite amazing. Never seen anything quite like it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Also reminds me to tell you to go down there, check out CIRCA, check out the sports book. It's probably the most baddest-ass sports book in all of Vegas. And,
There's a little more news to that, too.
Oh, cool.
In response to CIRCA doing what it's doing, WESTGATE has made some changes.
Okay.
Because the WESTGATE Superbook was, they were the top of the heap before CIRCA took it over. They've gone back their $1,000 regular championship, which used to be the gold standard. They have one called gold. But it it was 1.5. Well, I'm sorry, 1,500 to enter for years. Then they changed it to 1,000. It's back to 1,500. They've also started their own. They will start their own Survivor this year. 5,000 entry fee.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot.
Right, and they're also going to have a $500 college contest. They never had a college contest before that I know of. Maybe they have. Maybe they had some one-offs, and they're going to start that. Okay. So these are. We'll talk more about this as we get closer to September. As we've talked about before, if you don't live here, you've either got to know somebody who will put your picks in, or you've got to use a proxy. What's called a proxy service.
Right, and we use Maddie.
We use Maddie from footballcontest.com. No S on the end of that.
Right.
And if you go through our link, you get $50 off.
Perfect.
So anybody who wants to do it, it's worth doing. Everyone was happy with Maddie's service last year. So we're working with them again, and we'll have a link in the description box. But you can get 50 off, and these start at $99. If you want to play only one contest, it's only $99 minus the $50, $49.
And we had Maddie on the show once.
We'll have him on again before we start.
Yeah, and I actually used the service last year when I competed, and it was fantastic.
All right, good deal.
It was really good. Thanks to the Daves, me and my two partners, Dave and Dave.
We'll talk more about football as we get closer.
All right. Now, this is really exciting news. You guys have been asking for it. Everybody likes the LVA gambling books, LVA books, but now we're going to be having LVA audiobooks coming to Amazon. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've been doing audiobooks actually for as long as audiobooks have been around, but we don't do them with every title.
Right.
And we get people going, look, I read audiobooks. The reason we don't do audiobooks is, first of all, it's essentially a small part of the market, right? So the income from audiobooks isn't that great compared to the three formats are regular hard copy, of which there's soft cover and hardcover, ebook, and audiobook. We do, like I say, we have had audiobooks, but they're expensive to do, they're arduous to create, and until now, and so we've some of our books are, some aren't. Well, right in time for Advantage players, the new one that we just came out with, Amazon has a new program where they use AI to do the audio. Before you had to hire an actor.
Right.
You had to hire a reader.
Man.
Or you had to coordinate with the author to work with the audio provider.
Right.
At distance, that was a problem. Now you push a button and it goes immediately to audio.
To translate, yeah.
Yeah. So we've done this with Advantage Players, Whale Hunt, and Shameless.
Yeah.
And we got some sales right off the bat. And Tanya just told me we've already put up 15 more.
Okay.
And basically, all of our titles are going to now be in audio while we test this. And what's great about it is it's $14.99. So some of these books, they go above $30. And if you want to listen to your books, it's only $14.99. And apparently, I didn't know this until we were just coming on, if you bundle them, you get some kind of ridiculous discount, like 80 cents to get the ebook along with it.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
So you'll have it both on your reader and on in audio if you want to listen in that way. So I think it's a great thing. A lot of people do like audio. You get a choice of voices that you want to use. You can use a woman, you can use a man, you can use a British accent, you can use a Southern accent, you can whatever.
That's great. That's a lot of fun. Also, what it does is it gives you the ability to listen to this stuff in the car.
Yeah, which a lot of people, they're busy and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
So check it out. Go to Amazon, go to our books, and you'll see an audio button. Give it a try.
All right, and that's it for this month for our monthly update. Thank you for liking, for sharing, and subscribing. We'll have a Jackpots episode coming up this week. You can send your Jackpots to this email address right over here. We'll have a Beer Friday coming up, although I had a tooth extracted and I haven't had beer in about a week.
That'll be nice for you.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have some cold ones. And then
probably Michael Kaplan will be our next guest. Michael's coming in for the launch of Advantage Players.
That's right. He's the author of the Advantage Players, Michael
Kaplan. So we'll bring Michael in, who has had as much access to these APs as anyone who's not an AP ever. And there's very good reasons to say Mike is an AP now for all the things that he's done.
All right, and we've been in touch with the Crack Man. You guys want it? We're going to have the Crack Man on soon.
We'll get it on. We've got again, as we said, we've got a real good list of guests, and once a month, everyone's got to get in line.
All right, and then thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I had a guy tell me last night, he's like, I love that you had Steve Fezzik on. And I said, yeah, cool. I said, thanks for watching. So yeah, it's fun. Thank you for, and if anybody sees me throughout the casino, always say hi. It's always fun. Yep. I think I told the story last time. I was walking through the casino and a woman go, Andrew, What year is it?
because you forget the year all the time, right?
It's funny. But leave comments, help share the material. Anything to add, Anthony?
No, that's it.
That's it for this week. We'll see you next week.